Since we are waiting for everyone to come in, can the one in the back hear me? Okay, all right, thanks. So before I start my talk, right, I just want to know, right, who's here first time in WordCamp KL? Second time? Third time? Hack trick. Cool. So we can see that there's a lot of new, comers, which is a good thing because we are growing every month, every year. So hopefully that by next year we can achieve like maybe 300 to 500 participants. That would be really cool. All right. So my name is Nathan. So in this session, right, I'm going to talk about one coder agency, 3-step framework for building a one-man agency that lasts. So I would like to now acknowledge you and thank you for being here in this session and to hear my talks. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that this will well worth your time. All right? So before I start, right, I want to talk a little bit about myself. I'm from Penang. So anyone here from Penang as well? No? Yeah, I'm lonely. Okay, so I'm a self-taught developer. I started my career as a WordPress developer, developing WordPress themes and plugins. And I currently have like 5 plugins in Code Canyon. So I also have the opportunity to develop some exciting web projects using some of the latest technologies as well for clients. So some of my clients include Keysight, Dreamcatcher, ACAP Penang, Penang Science Cluster, and of course I have the opportunity to work with Penang State Government as well. So let's get started, right? Now, if oh, shit. Okay, sorry. So now, if you build website for a living, like myself, why you keep? Right, that's okay, cool. So sorry, a bit technical issue here. So now, if you build website, you build website for living like myself, have you ever asked yourself this question, right? Can I really build website forever? Can I really do this alone? What happens when there's no more new projects, right? So the thing is, right, running a WordPress agency is hard, especially if you're a solopreneur. So the thing is, we not only that we have to rely on our greatest asset, which is our time, to put food on the table, and even if like we have a project, we are going through a project, right, our thought, right, will start to worry about what happened after this project, right? Can we get more projects? Or if like there's no more new projects coming in. So there's always a constant thought of self-doubt that maybe we can't do this forever, that we might crash and burn if we accept too many projects. And not to mention that, right, people around us keep telling us that you can't do this forever, right? You need to start hiring. You need to get more clients, or you need to attend events to get more, to grow your network, to get more business, right? Now, some of that, right, might sound valid, but it doesn't necessarily best for you. So for the longest time, right, these are the problems that I think about all day. And it seems like there's no way out until I sort of like stumbled upon this book called Company of One. So anyone read this book before? Only one? Cool. So this book basically changed my perspective on running my own agency, and it preached that we don't grow for the sake of growth. We prioritize profitability and efficiency. and we grow through customer loyalty and retention. And lastly, is like we set ourselves as apart by sharing knowledge to the world. So because of the inspiration from this book, right, I started to look back at what I have done for my own agency, and I started to chart out a framework that will work for me. All right, so that is how this One Coder Agency, the 3-step framework of One Coder Agency is born. So the question is, what is One Coder Agency framework, and how can it help you? So this 3-step framework, right, represent 3 main pillars in running an agency: profitability, sustainability, and of course, attract better clients. So let's look at step 1, which is charge more. I mean, obviously, right? Well, not really. So let me tell you a story, right? So back in 2012, I have my first experience of selling WordPress website. At that time, I noticed that a lot of people are selling products through Facebook page. And the problem of selling Facebook page is like there's no stock management, and then you have to rely on bank transfer for payment, right? Which is really not a good, safest way to do online transaction. So I got this like brilliant idea that what if I build them a website in advance, and then I show it to them, then maybe they would like to buy the website from me, okay? Because since they don't have a website, they only have a Facebook page. So I proceed to build a few websites, and then for some potential clients that I identified, and I send them this email, which sort of like saying that, hey, you know, I have built for you this new website, so do you want to buy it from me? So back then, right, I don't really know how to charge, so I decided to go with $4.99 as a pricing, which I believe, because I was thinking that, you know, if I can sell 1 website a week, then in a month I will get 2K. And back then, 2K is really enough for me to cover my cost of living. Plus, and it's easy to spin out a website, so if I really need additional income, you know, I can build additional website for that. So what happened is like, out of the 5 potential clients that I sent to, only 1 reply. And the reply was like asking about a domain name issue. So I just answered my question saying that, I'm only handle the web development and web design part, so hosting and domain, they have to work on that. So this is actually a bit, you know, red light, which I shouldn't do. Now, and then it went radio silent, right? I didn't receive any more further email from that 1 client that replied to me. And then of course, I tried to follow up. And then of course, I even state my phone number there, so if they can call me directly if they want. And after almost a month of no news, I got rejected. So that is the moment, like, it's sort of like a down moment that, you know, I realized that maybe this doesn't work, right? You can't sell website for a living. So at that time, I give up and I ventured into some other things. So fast forward to 4 years later, right? I got an inquiry from a friend that worked in this company called Keysight for a CSR project for his company. So he needs someone to build a web portal for a public digital library. So this project is actually the one that kickstarted Penang Digital Library. So it also my first ever 5-figure projects. All right. So what's the difference? On one side, I couldn't sell a $500 website, whereas in the other side, 5-figure projects just show up in my doorstep. So honestly, there isn't much really different at all, because projects is a project, right? So this is a big aha moment for me back then, that I realized that the market will pay whatever you want if you are a trustworthy expert, right? I couldn't sell a 500 website back then because people that I sell to don't trust me at all, because they don't know me. They only know me through an email. Whereas on the other side, I already established myself as a trustworthy expert, even though that basically is the first time I got a paid project with almost 0 portfolio. All right, I'll explain about how I got these projects later on. So here's the thing, right? Most newbies make a mistake of pricing themselves according to the market. So what I mean is, like, if you are new to web development world, most likely that you will look at what other people charge, right? Before you deciding how much do you charge. And this honestly is a big no-no, because you don't want to build a website for $599, right? Even though the market is actually doing that, right? Because $599 ain't gonna be enough for all the stress and the sleepless night you're gonna get. And some people will say that, oh, you know, this could be just a bait, right, to get people to hook up. And then once they are hooked, you can gonna upsell them for more services. Now, this strategy might seem logic, but it won't work. Why? Because if you sell it cheaply, all you're gonna attract is cheapskate, and no one like to deal with cheapskate. All right? So how much should you charge for projects? So before I show you how to calculate your rate, I want to remind you that it's not about having a premium pricing, but to charge according to how much you're worth. So how to calculate your rate, right? So let's say that you need 4K per month to sustain yourself, right? So 4K will be divided by 4 weeks, meaning that 1 week you have to earn at least 1K, all right? So, and then in between that week, you are divided by 10 hours, which is 100 per hour. So your weekly rate is 1,000, your hourly rate is 100, all right? So let's say you have project coming in. So how do you estimate a project cost based on this rate, right? So if let's say your project's estimate gonna need about 12 weeks to complete, so 12 weeks times your weekly rate, which is 1,000, you get 12K. And then normally I would add additional 10 to 20% for scope change, because I rarely encounter any clients that don't change their mind as the project moving on. So my move is always that I charge this at the upfront, so that if they do change, then I can cope with that, all right? So the estimate cost will be around 14K. So this is how I calculate my rate, all right? So here's the trick. All you need is one project at a time. And if you can get at least one project at a time, you're gonna break even. And for the next project that is coming in, that'll be just pure profit, all right? So this is the whole trick of why you have to structure your rate based on that calculation, okay? So that is all. Now that you know what is step 1, so let's proceed to step 2. So before I talk about step 2, there's one thing that we can't avoid as an agency is project drought. I mean, sooner or later, we're gonna encounter a period whereby there's nothing coming in at all. So for myself, right, ever since my first 5 figures projects on the start of 2016 until the end of last year, I have a constant stream of projects coming in. So basically, like one project ends after another, and then another starts straight away. So after 3 years of non-stop working, I thought that, you know, this is a little bit tiring. I want to take a break and then enjoy life, right? So little did I know that right there is the start of my own project drought, because the next time I got a new inquiry, that was 7 months later, all right? So the question is, like, how do I survive a 7-month project drought? So luckily, back in 2012, after I failed my brilliant business plan of selling 500 websites, I decided to venture into plugin development, okay? Meaning selling WordPress themes and plugins. So over the years, I have built a number of plugins that have bring me a constant stream of income. Now, the income from the plugins wasn't much if you compare to income from a project, but it would definitely help surviving the rainy days. So this is why that as a one-coder agency, we must build product that will bring us additional income, so that when project drops hit, we can rely on those income to make sure that we stay afloat. So there are 2 types of products that we can build. Of course, as a WordPress developer, the quickest way is to build WordPress themes and plugins. And the other way is, of course, you can offer care plans or maintenance plans to clients. So where do you sell your WordPress themes and plugins? You can put it in marketplace like ThemeForest and GoCanyon. This is the easiest one, but it's not necessarily the best way. And if you don't like marketplace, you can use this service called Freemius, which is a platform to help you sell WordPress themes and plugins. They offer a lot of services such as payment processing, software licensing, version management and deployment. So they handle that all for you. Of course, for the cut of your sales, right? So this topic, right, is a heavy topic. So because of time constraint, I'm not going to go deep on this. So we can refer on some of the articles here. The slide will be available after this event. So other than selling WordPress themes and plugins, we can also offer care plans to our clients. Now, some people will call it maintenance plans or retainer fee, But the main point is we want to get our clients to pay us monthly so that we can help them maintain their website or the system that we have built. So this is a great way that makes sure that we have consistent income for our agency. So now, you have to be careful on who you sell your care plan to. Because over the years, I realized that care plan doesn't work for all type of clients. There are, for certain type of clients, the one that like abusive type or the talker type that, talk non-stop, always WhatsApp you, always email you, always want to call you to ask you about something. You best not to offer care plan to those clients because, you don't want that kind of stress in your life. And personally, I will only offer care plans that to the clients that respect my boundaries, that know what is my boundaries. And I find that companies is much more easy to work with. Private corporations is much more easy to work with compared to like startup or small business because their schedule is predictable. They work from 9 to 6, and then they don't work on holiday. And then you won't have to expect to answer their WhatsApp on Sunday night, right? So the question is, how much you charge for care plan? Normally, I will ask my client on how many hours they need from me each month. Then I will structure the pricing based on the answer. So let's say your hourly rate is 100 per hour, and then they need 10 hours from you every month, then I will charge them 1K just for care plan. Now, if they need more hours from me, then I'll bill them separately. All right? So why we are doing this way? Because so that we can set the expectation to the client, that make sure that they understand how much we worth and they pay accordingly, right? So there are people that offer care plans as a fixed price. Now, you can do that if, let's say, that covers all the bases, right? Make sure that if you charge enough that if the clients ask a lot, you can still cover it back. Otherwise, I will highly suggest you to charge based on hourly rate because sometimes there might be a month whereby the clients need a lot from me, right? From us. Then you can charge a lot more. Then sometimes the client might need just a few. Then, of course, it will be based on the hourly rate. So this one is actually based on your own situation, and you have to decide it on your own. Okay? So that is about step 2, which is build products. So let's now look at step 3 of this 3-step frameworks. So step 3 is to build your expert status. So here's the thing. Expert perception is a great mystery, right? So what do I mean by that? So let's say that you're sick, right? You go to see a doctor, and the doctor diagnoses you symptom and tell you like you have certain sickness, and this is what you need to do. Would you really argue with the doctor like, really? How qualified are you? Can you show me all your like past patient that you have cured? No, right? Why? Why we never question whatever the doctor say? Because in our mind, right, when we see someone wearing a white coat in a hospital, our mind automatically associates them as an expert in medical field, right? We never question them. Even though that particular person could be a fraud, or they just came down from some mental institution, right? We still trust them anyway. So the thing is like, how can we replicate the same concept in web development world, whereby when a client approaches, they will instantly associate us as an expert, instead of like questioning us like what's our credential and want to see all our portfolio and qualification, right? So the answer is actually pretty simple. Teach. Just become a speaker and trainer. So why teach? So here's the thing. When you teach, you become an expert in the subject that you taught, right? So, and this is really a best chance to showcase your expertise. So let's say that you want to teach about improve a website speed, right? So what do you think people will look for, who will look for when they need to improve their website speed? You, right? So remember this, like your audience could become your clients. And so the question is like, how do you teach? You need to become really good at teaching one particular subject. So let's say that you want to become expert in website speed, then you want to do a website optimization workshop. If you want to become expert in, let's say, website security, you want to conduct workshop on how to improve your website security. So that's simple, right? So if you want to learn how to teach, I would suggest you to read this book called Expert Secrets. So it's a really good book on how to rebrand you as an expert. And where to teach? This is even easier. You can just volunteer for meetups, conference, or WordCamp, or you can just simply approach a co-working space or some corporate training companies to co-host a workshop. All right, so this is actually, because I realized that a lot of times, especially for WordPress, right, because not a lot of WordPress trainer in our country, especially maybe in a certain state at all. Maybe KL, there's quite a number, like where I'm from in Penang, there are only limited amount of WordPress trainer there. So if you offer yourself up to a co-working space to organize events or workshop, or even like corporate training companies, they will most likely will open it for you. All right, so the next thing you can do to build your expert status is to build for non-profit for free, which is pay forward, right? So remember that my first 5 figures projects, so that is actually a referral from a non-profit that I help. So why non-profit, right? Because helping non-profit, right, is the best way to build up your portfolio, especially if you are new. So the thing about agency, right, is, if you want to find clients, but you also need portfolio. But if you get started, you don't have portfolio. So how do you find clients? It's sort of like a chicken and egg, don't know which comes first. So the best way is just you help non-profit, you build up your portfolio from there, and most of the time, right, most non-profit have good connection in the industry they have, and you might never know that someday their partners could become your clients. So especially if you have done a very good job for them, they will refer you some potential client. And those clients are the most easiest to convert, because most of the time, most likely they already put in a good word for you, and you don't even need to show them portfolio, everything. So who to help, right? Which non-profit to help? If you search up like non-profit Malaysia in Google, you'll notice that a lot of non-profit website still has lame design that pretty much stuck in the 90s or early 20s. So you can just start there. So you maybe just send them an email, say how can you help? And you have to be upfront about it, and that they don't have to pay you, that you're going to work for them for free, and in doing so, you're going to build a portfolio. So you have to be upfront about your purpose so that they understand as well. So now let's recap about this 3-step framework. So during my presentation, right, I might present this as step 1, charge more, step 2, build products, step 3, build expert status. But it doesn't have to be in that order. So if you don't comfortable or charging more, you can start by building an expert status first before you build products, before you start to charge more. Personally, I start off by building WordPress products before I help a non-profit. Then only I start accepting clients that are willing to pay for what I'm worth. Then only I started to teach, which in turn will bring me more clients. So the first thing you need to do is you need to decide which step you should start first and lay out your own roadmap for the framework. Now, please note that, right, you need time to build this framework. It can't be done in 1 week or 1 month. It needs time to build everything up. So be patient about it. And take one step at a time. So one last thing before I end this presentation. In the recent Bill Gates documentary by Netflix, right, the interviewer asked Bill Gates a question. What is your worst fear? And Bill Gates answered, I don't want my brain to stop working. So to think about it, right, I mean, on the surface, it seems like Bill Gates is worried about his health. But deep down, what he's really worried about is the amount of time he has left before aging caught up. This proves that even the second richest person in the world knows that times wait for no one, that he has the same limited amount of time just like everyone else in this world, right? So here's another great quote from another billionaire, if you recognize him. No amount of money ever bought a second of time. So as a web agency, we are in a business of trading time for money. Therefore, we need to trade wisely. All right? So that's all for my presentation today. Thank you for listening. Hopefully, you learned something today, and if you are a one-man agency, I would love to connect with you and hear your side of the story. So this is my LinkedIn profile and Facebook page. Any questions?
Thank you, Nathan. Just a little token there, a hat for you, for being with WordCamp KL. And, oh, you want a photo? Yeah. Okay. Drop me up on stage. Oh. Cool. So just as we're getting a photo here, do you want to raise your hands up, let us know who's ready to ask a question, and we'll get the... Okay.
Not the other way around.
Awesome. All right, so questions, I'm sure there's plenty. Questions? Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
When you mentioned about your rates just now, you base your rates on hourly rates, right? Do you show that to in the quotations? Like, how would you price that in the quotation? Because when you put up hourly rates or something like that, it tends to raise some questions from clients. So how do you go about that?
Okay, I don't show it on quotation. So this is only for my own reference. The way I do it is like I will show them module. So normally in a project, right, you have like different module, right? So if you build a website, maybe a homepage, contact page, about page, you show them the module. So you based on the module, let's say that you need one module is 5 page, you need 1 week to complete. So you base that, okay, one week to complete means that 1K. So I base on that. I don't show the hourly rate to clients. That one is only for my own reference. So most of the time, I don't have any clients that ask me about hourly rate. I mean, hourly rate, my experience is like quite difficult to work in here because, I don't know, maybe people in Malaysia does just not that good with hourly rate.
Okay.
Yep.
Hello, thank you so much for this presentation. I work as a one-man show. I mean, I have a website where I sell WordPress themes, and I'm thinking about more ways to add more services. So we have talked about care plan, maintenance plan. Can you explain what does it mean? What do you do exactly in the care plan?
Okay, so there's a few things that you can do. So in the industry standard, right, care plan normally means that you will help the clients maintain their website. So let's say that you build WordPress website, right? There will be a hosting in there. There will be a backup. There will be make sure everything is up to date. So all those works. So from my side, normally I will add in the support as well, technical support. Let's say that you want me to change something, not content change, but technical change or design change. That I'll add it, put that together as well. So this one is totally up to you, like which one you want to include in. Did I answer your question? Okay.
Hi, how do you deal with clients who always ask for discounts?
Okay, that's a really good question. So my personal philosophy, right? There are 3 indications. Like when clients speak to me, there are 3 indications that I straight away know that I'm not going to accept them. First thing, they ask the price first. If they ask the price first, meaning that they don't care about the end result. They only care about the price that they could trade for the end result. So I will avoid their clients like straight away. So meaning that if they ask for discount, I'm not going to even work with them. The second one is if, let's say, they ask you, they say that, this is really easy. You could able to do this 1 or 2 days, which, I mean, a lot of us know that is not impossible. So normally, based on the first conversation with the clients, I will straight away know that whether should I accept it or not. But of course, sometimes it will miss out. So you just have to eat it up.
Okay. Thanks for the sharing, Nathan. That's very interesting. I have 2 questions. The first one is that as a one-man coder agency, we can't really have all of the skills needed to build a fully functional website. For example, we might be very good in development, but maybe a bit lacking in UI or UX. So how do you source these skills and what do you charge for them?
Okay. Like me, myself, a very logical person, so I'm not good with design. I can design, but I'm not really up to standard because my mind is all 0 and 1. So in this case, normally there are 2 choices. Either I straight away just tell that honestly to the client saying that I can't do design. You have to hire your own designer, and I only do the development part so that they know. Or I can outsource it to some of my friends who have my connection. That's why that you need to build your own connection. Your business might be yourself, but you could have other connection that's in the same field. Some of your peers, whereby you can refer to. You just sub them to here, and then that's how you kind of cope with a larger projects. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Okay, second question is that since you are based in Penang, right?
Yep.
I'm sure you have clients who would request for a meetup to discuss about the project scope and updates and everything. Do you normally accept this request, and what goes into whether going through with that or not?
Okay, so if let's say there's a new inquiry coming in, for my case, most likely is from referral. So if there's a new inquiry coming in, the first thing I will say is send me an email about your project scope in details. So straight away I will know whether that person is serious or not. Because if let's say they send in saying that I want to build a website that look like this without any extra details, then most likely he might not be serious about it. But if they send in like 20 points of things that they want, yeah, that is probably serious one. So only based on that, I will decide whether I should go in or not. So if let's say that if I decided not to go in, normally I will say that my hand is full, I can't accept any more projects. But in truth, like I might have nothing to do, but I still say that because I really don't want to deal with the so-called troublesome client.
Okay, so we'll have the last question.
So my question is, being a one or two man team, developers, what sort of metrics that you see to decide whether a project is too big or too small for you to accept? Thank you.
I'll decide that based on time frame, like how many months it's gonna take for me to complete. So this one is actually depends on personality. I mean your personal skill as well. So if let's say that you are comfortable with like working on 3 months projects, then go for it. But if let's say more than 3 months you can't, then that's the time whereby you have to collaborate with some other people.
Okay, so we now have finished up on our question time. So Nathan, thank you very much for the talk today.